Falcons fans, let's get real. For years we begged for a defense that could finally carry this team, and now that it's here, people are still doubting it. Critics are pointing at box scores, fans are arguing in the comments, and everyone's asking the same question: is this defense really elite? Or are we just fooling ourselves? Tonight, we break it down once and for all. I've seen what's being said, Falcons fans. Some of you are fired up, saying this defense isn't as good as people think. And look, I hear you. A few of you even threw shade, saying, how can the defense be outstanding if they gave up 27 points to a backup quarterback without his top weapon? But here's the truth, that take is flat out wrong. The 2025 Falcons defense is absolutely legit. In fact, they're one of the most improved units in the entire NFL. And I'll prove it. Let's look at the numbers first. Week 1, Tampa Bay scored 23. Week 2, Minnesota only put up 6, total domination. Week 3 against Carolina, yes, the final scoreboard said 30-0, but remember, Michael Penix Jr. threw a pick-6. That's on the offense, not the defense. The Panthers' offense actually managed just 23 points. Then in Week 4, Washington put up 27. Do the math, through 4 weeks, the Falcons are giving up an average of 19.7 points per game. That ranks 14th in the entire league. Now, I don't care if someone says, oh, it has to be top 10 to be elite. For a team that was bottom of the barrel in defense for years, this is a massive leap forward. It's not just better, it's a completely new identity. And let's talk quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield had the best day of the bunch with a 99.3 passer rating. J.J. McCarthy? Awful, 37.5. Bryce Young sat in the middle with 78.6. And Marcus Mariota? 84.8. Those aren't numbers of a defense getting cooked. That's a defense forcing quarterbacks into uncomfortable games, taking away their best options, and making them work for every single yard. So when I hear fans dismiss this group because of one game or one scoreline, I can't sit back and let that slide. This defense is the strength of the 2025 Falcons. They're finally giving us something to believe in. Falcons fans, it's your turn. Rate this defense from 1 to 10 in the comments. Do you see them as a top NFL unit, or do you still have doubts? Here's the biggest takeaway, Falcons fans. No quarterback has had a passer rating over 100 against this defense all season. Not one. That's huge. And you know why it matters? Because just a year ago, this was the exact weakness everyone circled in red, the pass defense, the secondary. It was the flaw that kept costing games. But in 2025? It's becoming a strength. Let's compare. Look at last year versus this year. In 2024, Atlanta's defense was giving up more yards, more points, fewer sacks, and fewer turnovers. Now, just 1 year later, they've improved across the board. Yards allowed? Better. Points allowed? Better. Sacks? Way up. Takeaways? More than before. It's not even a debate. This unit is stronger, faster, smarter. And don't forget context. The Falcons' current record could look very different. Week 1, they had Tampa Bay beat, but a missed field goal cost them. Week 3? The offense completely collapsed with 0 points, one of the ugliest defensive performances we've seen in years. None of that was on the defense. So when someone says, this defense isn't that great, you have to stop and realize, they're wrong. The secondary especially deserves credit. For years, this group was a weakness. Teams used to circle Atlanta on the schedule and say, we can torch them through the air. Not anymore. When the Falcons generate pressure, their secondary looks dangerous. A.J. Terrell, once he's back, is still their top corner. Jesse Bates is playing like one of the league's best safeties. Then you've got the rookie duo, Billy Bowman Jr. and Xavier Woods, 2 young players who are already locking down receivers like seasoned vets. Even Mike Hughes, who gave up 1 touchdown this season, has otherwise been steady. If your worst corner is still playing solid football, you're in a good place. That's why this defense is scary. The front seven is getting after quarterbacks. The secondary is sticking with receivers. It's the perfect combination. And it shows. Week 4 against Washington was the best example. No Jaden Daniels, no Terry McLaurin, but the Commanders still had plenty of weapons. And yet, the Falcons clamped down, forced mistakes, and controlled the game. Bottom line, this is the best Falcons secondary in years. It's not hype, it's results. Falcons fans, be honest. Are you impressed with this defense, or do you still have doubts? Drop an I for impressed or N for not impressed in the comments. Let's see where the fanbase stands. Now let's talk about one of the biggest storylines on offense, Darnell Mooney. When the Falcons signed him away from Chicago, a lot of people weren't sure what to expect. He had speed. He had talent. But in Chicago, with Justin Fields and a broken coaching staff, Mooney never really found his rhythm. It was chaos, and he was lost in it. Atlanta gave him a new start. For a while, he looked like he belonged here, a dangerous complement to Drake London, the kind of guy who could stretch the field and punish defenses. But 2025 hasn't gone the way anyone hoped. Mooney spent most of the summer recovering from a shoulder injury, and now he's dealing with a hamstring problem that knocked him out of the Commanders' game after just 3 quarters. That's tough. Injuries keep piling up, and fans are starting to wonder if he'll ever find his stride in Atlanta. Here's the good news. Reports say Mooney shouldn't miss more time, thanks to the bye week. He's expected back for Week 6 against the Buffalo Bills. That's huge because the Falcons need him. Not just for Buffalo, but for the middle stretch of the season, when the schedule really matters. That's where Atlanta has a real shot to separate themselves in the playoff race. But let's be real here. The Falcons don't just need Mooney healthy. They need him productive. Through 3 games, his numbers have been disappointing. Fewer than half his targets caught, just 79 total yards, no touchdowns. That's not the Darnell Mooney Atlanta thought they were getting. Is it the injury? Is it Zach Robinson's system? Is it Mooney himself not being the same player? Honestly, it might be all 3. But one thing's clear, he has to find his football legs again. Being in shape is not the same as being in football shape. Any player will tell you that. Running sprints in the off-season isn't the same as running routes with the corner draped on your back in the 4th quarter of a close game. And right now, outside of Drake London, this wide receiver room is thin. Casey Washington hasn't lived up to expectations, and the depth behind him is shaky at best. That's why Darnell Mooney matters. He doesn't need to be a superstar, he just needs to be reliable, dangerous, and available. Because if the Falcons want to keep this offense balanced, they can't ride Drake London alone. Falcons fans, what do you think? Will Darnell Mooney bounce back and become a real weapon this season, or is he on the verge of being a disappointment? Drop your take in the comments. The Falcons' receiving room is still a puzzle. Cadrell Hadge hasn't suited up. Jamal Agnew just returned. David Sills is almost invisible. And Ray McCloud? Some weeks he flashes, other weeks you forget he's even out there. That's why Darnell Mooney is the key. This offense needs him. Without Mooney at his best, Michael Penix Jr. doesn't have enough weapons to consistently stretch defenses. Yes, Kyle Pitts can push up the seam, and when it clicks it's beautiful. But one weapon isn't enough in today's NFL. To his credit, Zach Robinson dialed up a smart game plan. He baited Washington with heavy runs, then attacked deep with the bomb look. It worked, but it's a strategy that only holds if you've got multiple receivers who can burn defenses downfield. The good news? Mooney has the talent to be that guy. The bye week gives him time to reset, heal, and refocus. If he comes back locked in, this offense instantly becomes more dangerous. And the timing couldn't be better. Buffalo is next, and the Bills just went toe-to-toe with the Saints. If New Orleans could push them to the brink, Atlanta can absolutely walk into that game with a chance to win. This is where the Falcons stand, not broken, not hopeless, but on the edge of something real. The bye isn't about scrapping everything. It's about sharpening what works, fixing the weak spots, and getting playmakers like Mooney ready to explode. Falcons fans, if you believe Mooney's about to bounce back and make a statement, let's hear it, because this team's playoff push depends on it.